It's been a long-running joke since Thomas Vanek was traded from the Buffalo Sabres to
New York Islanders, I think.
New York Islanders at the trade deadline, or just before it. Years and years ago, almost a decade ago, that breaking news always happens right after the STP is done recording. We had walked downstairs. We were having a mini little Christmas party put together by our sales rep, Christina. And if we just found out that D.J. Smith was fired as the Senators head coach, and we went into a whole discussion about will he coach in 2024.
Yep, I gave my theories. I think Jay McKee is going to eventually be the Sens head coach. And you know what? I think I might end up being right here. Because in the segment that we discussed, I said I think they're waiting on their guy to become available. I don't think Jacques Martin is their guy.
He's their coach right now.
Well, here's what's funny, though. He was brought on to be, I think, a coaching consultant.
Yep, that's exactly the title. And there was no way he would ever be the head coach. That's not what they brought him on for.
Well, wasn't DJ Smith then the coaching consultant? Because he basically just trained his replacement. So he was consulting Jacques Martin on how to coach the Ottawa Senators.
Yep.
Also interesting, and you brought this up downstairs, is DJ Smith ran practice this morning.
Yeah. And he wanted to keep it light and fun. And hey, come on, boys. It's almost Christmas. Like, dude, it is December 18th.
Yeah.
That is ruthless.
Yeah, the question that you're going to hear Adam ask during the show was, will DJ Smith be the coach of the Ottawa Senators in 2024? And I think it was just so close to Christmas, and there was enough there where you're just like, you can just hold for it for a couple of weeks until, as you said, your man becomes available. And your answer to that question was yes, he will be the coach come 2024. So it's a curious decision that they make this decision at this time. And along with Jacques Martin going to the head coaching slot, Daniel Alfredsson is now the assistant head coach on the bench, which is, I think, fascinating.
Yeah, I mean...
far cry from what it was, eh?
Oh, yeah.
He wouldn't even be part of the organization. Now he's on the bench.
Yeah.
And
Also...
Oh, go ahead.
We should have read more into it when he was on the bench for a game in Sweden.
Yes.
He was on the bench for...
But you can forgive us for not, because he's a Swedish guy. It's
No, I know.
special about that.
But it was funny. They were up 4-0, and you know, I like nudged Drew. I'm like, holy smokes, this Alfredsson on the bench thing is working out. And then they blew a 4-0 lead and ended up winning it in overtime.
But, it was a bit of a trial run. And also Davis Payne is also relieved of his duties along with DJ Smith. So that's where the slot for Alfredsson comes from.
I see.
So Davis Payne and DJ Smith are both fired today.
And perhaps for Senators fans, the pain is over.
Oh, boo.
Now, let's start the show.
What a way to start the Davis.
The Steve Dangle Podcast with your hosts, Steve Dangle, Adam Wilde, and Jesse Blake.
Hey, we're going to take over the Kingston Frontenacs.
Yeah.
We bought the team. It's ours now.
And then we're going to take over Peterborough and Oshawa and Michigan. And then we're going to take back the White House. Yeah!
Hey, Kingston Frontenacs and SDP. There's a Steve Dangle Podcast night, January 21st against Saginaw. Not only will VIP members, by the way, I think the VIP is sold out.
It is.
VIP is sold out.
Yeah.
Not only will VIP members be able to skate on the ice with us beforehand, but if you just buy the non-VIP one, the other bundle, you'll be able to see the show live and also see the game. And the great thing about it is for $50, you're getting the game, you're getting a meal from the Merchant Tap House, which look up their menu, delicious.
Yum.
And also, we're going to hang with you and we're going to do a podcast night.
We
like
only
a
had
live show.
75 VIP bundle tickets because there's only so many people that can fit on an ice rink at once. And one of those people is
Barrack the Bear.
Thank you.
Rock.
So that's why they sold out very quickly. And for the standard bundle, there's only 105 of those, and they are going very fast.
Yes.
So if you want the tickets to the event and the game, you better act now.
Act now.
Look at this deal. Look at how good this deal is, guys. Do you see it? Here. I'm trying to hug the deal. It's so good. Oh, my hand. Whoa. Da, 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 da. Is anyone?
Oh, this is
right now?
this is trippy.
Wow. All right. Hey, can we get out of the
Wow.
fort?
Yeah, that's
Wow.
cool.
That's good. Let's get into the
Wow.
game.
Steve can't handle the 4-box.
I can't. Wait.
Let's.
Wow.
Jesse, stop letting him do that.
I'm not doing anything.
Maddie?
I'm
I'm a grown up.
not in charge of the 4-box.
Hey, Leafs have a very dominant win against Kyle Dubas in his return to Toronto.
Holy.
Now, it should be noted that Dubas refused to make himself available to the media. Although, honestly, you usually don't get a GM when they roll through town. I didn't think it was that big of a
The
deal.
expectations on that are ridiculous. You expect a visiting GM, just to speak with the media and hold a press conference? Like, no, that doesn't happen.
I'm not upset about
What do you think this is? A Marlies playoff game? Sorry, that's a deep cut.
I
don't think anybody knows
I
what
don't
you're talking
understand.
No one knows what I'm talking
The
about?
two guys next to you don't understand.
When Damian Cox got all mad that...
He couldn't go to the Marlies dressing room,
Well, so he got mad at two things. He couldn't go in the Marlies dressing room.
which they never allow.
During I think it was a 2016 Marlies playoff game. And yeah, if he had been to any of their other games, he would know that was their policy, but he didn't. And he wanted to interview Kyle Dubas at intermission, and they were like, the general manager? No. And he got very upset about that as well.
Really?
Yeah, I thought that was like a well-known thing.
Really?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. 2016, that was a great year.
Okay. All right. Now, so yeah, thank you for that. Appreciate that.
You're welcome.
I don't know for anybody who's expecting Dubas to get interviewed. Of course, he's not going to get interviewed here. I think the last, like, CJ did a really good retrospective of him, and really because we just don't know, right? That press conference. When you go back and watch that press conference if you got 20 minutes. It's still available online. It's the goofiest, weirdest press conference I've ever seen.
You could write a short book on that press conference alone.
100%.
And the lead up to it and the fallout from it.
where he supposedly lost his job.
Yep.
I know a
talked
great
himself
writer
out of it.
who should be working on another Leafs book, and maybe you should write a book on the Dubas era.
What of Julian McKenzie, though?
No, Steve Glynn should write a book on the Dubas era
that's an interesting
of Toronto.
Well, someone should.
If you did like interviews, if you get like staff and Dubas himself maybe for a little sit down, I don't know.
Someone should.
Someone should.
I may know things that you don't know.
Call it not again. Kyle Dubas' tenure in Toronto.
No, you've got to
Era wasted. It's got to be an era wasted.
You got to call it like the Core 4 or something.
Or Game 7 meltdown.
Core
I don't know.
4, no more. No?
No. Stop. No. All right.
Kyle Doom.
Let's just get into this.
Piss.
Kyle Dubas
like
actually,
that.
by the way, people who are saying he didn't speak, he did speak. He spoke in Pittsburgh on Thursday, reaffirming that Mike Sullivan would be the head coach. And here's the funny part about Mike Sullivan that I learned this weekend from Christopher Johnson. Mike Sullivan signed a 3-year extension last year that doesn't kick in until next year.
Dude, that's terrible.
And so he has to be the guy helping the team going forward because the rumored money is over $5 million a year.
So when Dubas got this job, I'm like, well, good for him. He's got more power and everything. He's president and then named himself GM. Lol. That's great and everything, but he's taking on one of the hardest jobs in the NHL. Which is like the Penguins are one of those weird teams where, yeah, they could contend. It's still possible. But once this year or the next year passes,
There will be pain.
there will be pain. They don't have prospects. They don't have picks. They have a bunch of ancient men by professional athlete standards, right?
Who are still performing, by the way.
Who are still performing, but
Should be noted.
like Father Time catches up with everybody. Look at Ovi at the beginning of this season.
Yep.
And he's still, who knows, maybe he's got a few more roundhouse punches he can throw at Father Time, but
Yeah.
Father Time's kicking his ass right now.
It's interesting seeing this game. It was interesting watching this game because for me, there were some hallmark Kyle Dubas players that were brought into this team that play like the guys that used to frustrate me last year. And I'm a Dubas fan, but I've really liked the turn the Leafs have taken and having a little bit more bite. The Leafs, from top to tail in this game, physically dominated the Pittsburgh Penguins. They dominated them.
They're not.
They dominated them.
I have a hard time believing in that team, man.
So it starts off
Pittsburgh,
with the
that
Matt
is.
Nyes goal, and then the Matt Nyes fight, sticking up for Domi. And he said he blacked out, doesn't remember a thing about it.
Dude, whatever they gave Matthew Nyes while he was out sick worked.
Austin Matthews did not play because he's been sick, and this flu has been running through the team.
TJ Brody.
Nyes, Domi, Marner looked good. Robertson mixed in there, got an assist, set up Marner beautifully after the Domi setup.
Gross.
And here's the one that this is what I want to talk about with the Pittsburgh Penguins, because Bobby McMahon got his first goal,
Love that.
which wasn't called back this time because I think his first goal was actually called back.
Last year against Detroit.
But the thing about the Bobby McMahon goal, and Penguins fans, I had Penguins fans in my DM going, carve him. Ryan Graves had the opportunity to grab 3 different Toronto Maple Leafs on that play. This is not his first egregious play of the game, by the way, but he had the chance to get 3 guys. This is a 7-year contract. 7-year contract. 6-year contract. Still bad.
That contract sucks, dude.
And he chose, instead of tying up any of those 3 guys, he chose to watch the puck. And Bobby McMahon, 4th line, sometimes right winger, Bobby McMahon is wide open. And no offense to Bobby McMahon, but Bobby McMahon is not on a 6-year deal that pays him over $4 million a year.
Well,
and here's the thing about Ryan Graves.
Yes.
Ryan Graves, to me, is exactly the embodiment of the type of defenseman and depth forwards that Dubas brought into Toronto. And there was some benefits to that, right? Not very physical, probably not going to tie up their guys, can kind of be mobile, and can move the puck.
Generally decent underlying numbers,
which Ryan Graves had. People were so pissed at me when I said it was a shitty signing on July 1st. I still think it was.
Dude, 6 years. I don't know, man.
The reason they went to 6 years is there was somebody else who was willing to pay more money year over year.
All right, get someone else.
Yeah, that's what I would have said too. But the one thing that drove me nuts about Kyle Dubas' Toronto teams was that none of the defensemen would ever move anybody in front of the net. And if what we've seen, and it's happened over the course of a few weeks, I think the first Boston game was a huge turning point for the Toronto Maple Leafs this year because Liljegren went down and nobody did anything.
Dude,
and
that ass kicking was like chicken soup for the Leafs.
That was a change.
It's like a total turning point of their season. And the next game was.
And I see guys like this, and I know Noel Chari's out and that sort of thing, so he's a physical guy.
So what? It's the league.
That guy specifically for me really stood out as, what are you adding here? What are you big for?
Are you saying he's Dubas's new Justin Hall?
I think he probably was signed to be.
I
think
as ownership, I think sometimes you get caught up in like new guy syndrome or whatever. And you're like, this is the new guy, and we're going to let him do whatever the new guy needs to do. He came here because he didn't have any power in Toronto, and we're going to give him all the power. Mm-hmm. And I'm going to offer this player a 6-year contract. Okay, what does he play? Defense. Got it. Okay, I'm going to move heaven and earth to get this wrong side of 30 defender who can't really defend. Sorry, you're going to move heaven and earth to do that? Yeah. You're going to give up like draft capital and stuff? Yeah.
How much money is it going to cost us every year?
$7.5 million.
$10 million.
Okay, great. $10 million. And sorry, so why'd you need the first one? If this is a $10 million defenseman, like if this is worth our investment, you don't need to, like, the whole problem with the Leafs is every year the season begins and we're like, so who the hell's the third line center? But the reason you can stomach that problem is because your top 2 are stupid. Your top 2 are ridiculous. It's Matthews, Tavares. The Penguins, same shit. Who's their third line defenseman heading into most seasons since 2006?
Oh, you said defenseman. Sorry, I thought you were center.
Oh, no, sorry. The Penguins, who is their third line center? Like, who gives a shit? Because it's Malkin and Crosby, and then you figure out the rest later. It's been that way for over a decade.
Stahl probably was, when he was playing there, the best one they've had.
Yeah, and then Sutter, and they had Bonino for a long time, and they were able to
cycle guys in.
Cycle them out. The point I was making at the beginning there, so Dubas gets the power.
Yes.
But it's so difficult for him to do anything because of roster age and construction. Then on top of that, his coach has like the least fireable contract maybe in NHL history.
Outside of Babs.
Outside of Babs, who Dubas did fire. But like, who thought it was a good idea? Pretty sure it was the season after they missed the playoffs or didn't. They definitely didn't make it out of the first round. Who thought it was a good idea to give Mike Sullivan a 3-year contract extension 2 years ahead of time?
Hextall and Burke.
Yeah,
Dude, that's a disaster.
They left a mess.
Yeah, they
Jeff Carter
really
deal.
did some things to the organization during their like short tenure there.
Terrible.
And so Dubas comes in and he gets more power to do what?
And he locks himself in more because he brings in this Graves deal and he brings in Erik Karlsson, and there's nothing wrong with those players on their own. But like, you already have so many long-term contracts. You could have had Justin Hall.
Dude, like, Penguins fans got really mad at us on Instagram when we had that video where we were talking about the idea of Crosby
Playing anywhere else. And I get it.
Playing
It's an emotional
anywhere-
response.
Yeah, I get the emotional response, but like, also, are you sure? Because your other option, like, okay, if I think the Penguins should go for it, I don't think they should pull the chute. I think trade your remaining draft capital and screw it, go for it. Do not trade any picks in the future. Don't you dare. And then just understand, if you commit to this group now, you are committing to bottoming out. None of this rebuild on the fly shit. You are bottoming out. You are going to be dog shit.
You're going to be
for at
2003
least
Penguins.
2 or 3 years.
2003 Penguins.
Oh,
Worst Penguins,
yeah.
worst
You
Penguins
are
team
going
we've
to
ever
be
seen.
terrible.
Yeah.
And that's okay. That's if you probably would be shit for a couple years if you get a 5th Crosby Cup. 5th. Or no, sorry, 4th.
Still,
My
that's
bad.
great.
My bad. Still great. Yeah, I'll take 4 cups, please. I'll take that. But like, Dubas' job is hard.
I also,
Hard,
but
man.
again, he made some bets here too.
There's no. It's funny that he has the same problem in Pittsburgh that he had in Toronto. He has no margin of error.
Yes, but
You
he puts
can't make a
himself
bad
in that.
signing.
But he puts himself in that position.
I agree.
I also don't know, and I want to. I'll shift it when we look at the way Kyle Dubas looks at a team. We have to remember that this is a mostly Hextall Burke team,
Right.
but there's been some pretty major additions that Dubas has made or doubled down on. Tristan Jarry, don't think he deserves a lot of hate for the game. I don't think they played well in front of him.
He was fine.
He was fine. He was fine. He got pulled, but he was fine. Nedeljkovic, why not take a flyer on the guy? Didn't work out in Detroit. Saw some flashes in Carolina. Why not try?
He's been fine.
I think that we forget sometimes how close the Leafs came to absolute ruin at the goaltender position. Jack Campbell was this close to a 5-year, $25 million deal. This close. I think the Leafs wanted him at 4. Remember,
They offered him supposedly the wedge that got drove between Campbell and the Leafs was the Leafs offered him. It was like less than $3 million.
yeah, and his agent wanted 7 at the time.
And his agent just cut off all talks. And
That was
whoops.
it. Well, no, it's worked out for Jack. He's still getting the bag.
yeah, I guess that's
He got pulled last game or game before.
Who's that? Campbell?
Yeah, and down in Bakersfield again. Oh. Yeah, he had a rough outing. It wasn't great.
I love the person.
Listen,
Yeah.
I had my boisterous little thing when he got his shutout.
It's back on the other side.
It's
rough.
not working.
Yeah.
So then we look at the way that the Penguins have played this year, which has not been good. They've been kind of flat. They were feeling themselves a little bit because they'd come off of a win against Arizona, a playoff team, and then a shootout, dramatic win in Montreal, right? So feeling themselves a little bit.
2 good wins. The power play was back. Like that
Oh
was
my God,
That was the
power
thing for
play.
them.
You're
like,
welcome.
Yeah.
You're freaking welcome.
After we talked about it, they went out and they won those 2 games, and they were good victories for them because everything looked to be going in the right direction.
And they're rolling into Toronto, a team that usually, when there's a big regular season game against a former, somebody who's now a former ally who's now an enemy, right? And listen, I like Kyle Dubas, but he's not a Leaf anymore, so fuck him. When he's playing the Leafs, fuck him, right? Like that's how it should be, right?
Sure.
Yeah, and then you go right back to, hey, you're cool.
Yeah, I still like Kyle Dubas. I'm trying to figure out, like, you can blame some of the losses on the power play. We went through some of the underlying numbers. Not a bad team in pretty much every statistical category except for the power play. But when you have Kyle Dubas rolling into Toronto, it's the dad's trip for the Pittsburgh
the last
Penguins.
game of the dad's trip too.
Ah.
That's how you leave the taste in their mouth.
And you come out and lay an egg like that. That's a team problem. That's a coach problem. And I think most importantly, it's a roster construction problem.
I mean, if it was any other coach in the NHL, we'd be like, has the team quit on the coach?
Yeah.
Or something. But you literally can't fire this person.
It's not Kyle Dubas's. I wonder how much Kyle Dubas actually controls this team because, like you said, with the coach and Mike Sullivan extension, the guy who came out and talked at the press conference in August, I want to say, or July.
I am the GM.
What?
I am looking for the GM. That's me. You mean Dubas, right?
The guy who came out in August or July of 2022 when they handed out the extension to Mike Sullivan was John Henry, who is the guy who's in charge of Fenway Sports Group. It wasn't like they had the GM and obviously like Ron Hextall and Berkey when they're there. They're obviously doing the stuff there, but like Henry, who's a Boston guy who made his name with the Red Sox, gave this extension to Massachusetts-born Mike Sullivan.
Oh boy! Let's keep going there.
It's not like Dubas has any control over who's managing the roster. I don't think he has a say. And if the guy who's on top of Dubas is the one who's hiring and making the head coaching decision, how much say does Dubas really have over the roster itself?
And Sullivan's been there since 2016.
15. Not?
Yeah, 15.
You know what?
15, 16.
20. Yeah.
The other coach with Johnson was fired in the fall.
It was really late.
December.
It was November or December 2015.
I just worry about Dubas in it seems like he's in a second situation where he does not have the autonomy to make decisions that he wants to make.
I have a question.
Okay.
I have a question.
All right.
How does a guy making $7 million a year in a management role, which is what Dubas makes, not have authority?
I would take $7 million for somebody to tell me what to do every day.
Oh, no. And
I mean,
this is what we've talked about for years and years and years on this show. Ownership has to let the people that they hire make decisions, or you're just lighting money on fire. So the Leafs are probably still lighting money on fire because they're, Shanahan's just doing his little thing. Fenway Sports Group decided we'll light more money on fire, actually, and we'll give Dubas like top pair defenseman money every year to do whatever we fucking tell him to do. So you can't trade any of our best players. Mm-hmm. They're all on no moves, and they're old. Mm-hmm. Also, you can't draft anyone. Also, there's no one coming. Also, you can't fire the coach. Mm-hmm. Also, there's no GM, so you should probably make yourself the GM.
Yep. So I want to say
that dude attends games. You know what I mean?
Yep.
Like, what's he allowed to do?
Yep.
He got Jansen Harkins off waivers. Like, what's he allowed to do?
I wonder if Dubas goes in there with 100% autonomy and is told to reconstruct this roster in any way you want, or go for it, or do whatever, if he even makes the Erik Karlsson trade. Or if I
think he wanted Erik Karlsson.
Or if he walks into the room and Crosby and management and everybody says, no, we have to win. You have to do things to win. And his best idea is Erik Karlsson. I wonder if he stands pat and he says, I'm not going to go do that if I don't talk to everybody and they tell me I have to win.
So you saw Karlsson Burns and thought older Karlsson, older Letang is going to do well. You thought that was going to be a great idea. All right.
And
let's see.
So here's the thing. I'm looking at Fenway Sports Group, and outside of Liverpool, who they've had a crazy run with. They own Liverpool FC, they own the Red Sox, and they own Penguins and some other stuff as well. They've not had, like, the Red Sox have been weird. They've been
John Henry was there through the World Series, was he not?
He was, but recently, I'm talking about last couple of years, not had a great run.
Okay.
Right?
I believe they won the World Series in 2018.
No, Jesse, you got to remember.
2018 this is 5 fucking years ago.
That's
man.
a drought. That's a Bostonian sports drought.
All right.
Yeah, they're championship every year. I think
the Bruins are in crisis.
I think what happened
the Mookie Betts trade was an awful move.
I think what happened was,
I'll give you that.
I think the Sox haven't been great. I think that Fenway Sports Group didn't know a whole heck of a lot about hockey. They hired some people with a lot of experience in hockey who were outdated, and now Dubas is in. He's a forward-thinking guy, and he's going to have to clean up this mess. And the thing is, now they want to go for it so you got a mess to clean up, and you got a time, like a ticking clock with Crosby and Malkin. I think, like, if you look at it, like here's what Mike Sullivan said: we just didn't play very well. I'll certainly dissect it. I'm not sure how to respond. It's a humbling experience. It's disappointing. We're all in this together. We've got to figure it out. Josh Yohe from The Athletic said it was an appalling display of hockey throughout the evening. There's no excuse for it. I also want to bring this up. This is a crazy stat, all right? This is how bad the Penguins' defense was on Saturday night. I don't know if the Leafs were that good or if the Penguins were that bad. Mike Kelly...
No, the Leafs were cooking.
Penguins allowed 13 odd man rushes and 11 rush chances.
It felt like it.
They have not allowed double-digit rush chances in their first 17 games, and they've allowed 10 or more in 5 of their last 12, the Penguins.
Oh.
And the Leafs obviously cook on the rush. They're great on the rush.
Especially Maximus Domi. Holy.
Yeah. And so the reason I wanted to put a focus on Pittsburgh is because I feel like you've got a couple of guys in there that Dubas would like, and then you've got Hextall and Burke's mess. And it's not combining for a very good team. I know he likes Erik Karlsson. I know he likes Ryan Graves. I get it. But those guys don't fit where this roster needed to go to make up for the mess that Berkey and Hextall left behind.
I don't give a shit. Take another job. If you're so worried about the job the last guys did, don't take this job.
Well, I'm not expecting
no sympathy.
I'm not expecting sympathy, but clearly he's going to have to change the way he looks at NHL teams if they're going to win in the Crosby era. If he doesn't care, if he ultimately is like, I'm going to let this team suck and I'm going to go to management next year and go, do you guys want to continue sucking, or do you want and try to get Crosby a cup, or can you let me offload these assets and start again?
I honestly think that's if I was in that position, that's what I would do, because I think that's the best way to move forward for long-term success.
Agreed.
If he's thinking about his tenure as president of the Pittsburgh Penguins and he wants to hoist a cup there one day, his first Stanley Cup, that's probably the best route forward.
And this is year 1 of his contract. If he wants to be good again, challenging for the playoffs by year 4, this next summer would be the summer to do it if this keeps up. Remember, you have to say if this keeps up, it's hockey, right? Things can change.
Crosby is absolutely cooking too.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
Well, you could keep Sid and
I
fire
have such a
everyone else
hard
into the
time
sun.
betting against this team. Like,
Me too.
Man, aren't we right back to discussing the Dubas Leafs? Like, but they're there. But they're there. They got to add a piece here and they'll be fine.
You were seeing this year that they weren't there.
No, I know.
I don't want to take too much from one game. You get demolished from by the Leafs on a Saturday night. It's 7-0. Everything you outlined is obviously egregious and should not happen. But it's also one game.
Are they sick as well? Like, I'm not asking that to be a
right.
Dick.
And they could go forward, and if they steady the power play and based on all the numbers they've had so far this season, they could be just the bottom of the end playoff team and have a shot, because once you get in, who knows what happens. But it's about climbing back in. And if they've righted the ship with the power play based on the 2 games where they had a decent power play, there's some optimism there for the Penguins. And I don't want to jump on them for one game, but it was the ultimate bad game.
I'm jumping on them for their season.
These clips
season's been dog shit.
These clips are going to go absolutely bonkers when the Penguins knock the Leafs
I know.
off.
I can't wait. I hope they do. But I'm just saying it's garbage. Now, on the Leafs side, there was a big there was a big article posted by Jonas Siegel of The Athletic, and people were upset because here's the thing. Jonas's contention, and this is his position, is that the Leafs cannot move forward with Max Domi as a center, and that there's been like a masking tape approach to Max. Now, Max Domi's on pace for like 45 points. He's the top scoring player outside of the top 4.
He's outside of the top 5 because include Riley.
Oh, include Riley in the core.
He's the top scoring Leaf who's not on the top unit power play.
Yeah, that's pretty good for $3 million.
Yeah.
Fans love him. He has brought listen, there's going to be defensive miscues with Max Domi. But at $3 million, this guy, along with Robertson, and sometimes Nyes, when they were able to link up, or whoever else he's played with. Yarncroke has been good.
Most of this, by the way, you pointed out before the show with a busted finger.
Jesse pointed that out, but he's been walking in the arena with a busted finger.
No, I was up.
I have to agree with
We do look alike.
It's true.
I understand why.
It's a very good point, Adam.
I can understand why
Don't interrupt Jesse when he's talking.
Jonas feels that way, because that's not the way Jonas looks at it.
Right.
But Leaf fans are seeing a guy who A, plays his balls off, B, sets up some really great plays, had a great goal on Saturday night too, like a spectacular goal. And when he scores, he fucking roars, man. That guy is so excited to score a goal as a Leaf.
Yeah, because he's only got 2.
Exactly. But so what?
Yeah, I know.
So what? He's setting other people up.
I know.
He's a playmaker.
I know.
And so, Steve, you have said previously that you don't think that the Leafs will go into the playoffs with him as the third line center. To be honest, I've disagreed with you, because I still think this guy who played with Dallas last year into the third round, had a spectacular playoffs as the third line center, can do it. And I wonder at what point, do you and Jonas get your shit together?
Domi.
When do you get your head out of your ass?
Domi's making a believer out of me.
Is he?
Yes. Slowly.
Now,
but
Jonas
surely.
doubled down this morning, which I think is hilarious. Because people
you know-
were eating him alive on Twitter all weekend, and he was like, nope, it's what I think.
Because Jonas is less swayed by small sample size than I am. But which, all the power to him and everything. But that line, when I saw it assembled, I'm like, that is just a big old bunch of fun regular season line. And here they are cooking in December. I'm curious to see how it goes going forward when things tighten up. But the Leafs are the team tightening up, except for Columbus, which is so clearly an outlier, that game. They've been real stingy.
Defensively responsible with major defensive core pieces gone.
Oh, yeah. No
Gio, no Klingberg with his warts or
Simone
whatever.
Benoit was practicing with Morgan Riley today. This is, it's not a team that is anywhere near ideal at the moment, and they're really tightening up. Their forwards are getting back.
10-1-4 in their last 15 games.
He's making Robertson look real good. He's making Yarncroke look like a friggin'
Offensive dynamo. It's crazy.
Oh my God. He's in his 30s. His first 20-goal season was last year. And I tell you what a parting gift from Kyle Dubas.
Great signing.
And did we talk about Yarncroke Bertuzzi and the similarity between them?
No.
I sort of had an epiphany a few days ago. I think it might have been on the weekend. Yarncroke, do you remember Yarncroke at the beginning of last season when he started with the Leafs?
Yeah, he was a little off.
He was terrible. A little off. He was terrible. And they tried him at center. And it didn't make any sense. And I was like, this guy stinks. Get him off my team. They made a huge mistake. And around game 10 or a dozen games in, he flicked the switch and went, oh, and they put him on a line that made sense. And he's never looked back. Tyler Bertuzzi, same thing. But maybe a better comparable would be Max Domi. It's just the opposite. Yarncroke, the more defensive-minded guy they had at center. It didn't work. Put him to the wing. He's been great. Wasn't Domi on the center of David Kampf and Matthew Nyes?
Yes.
From day one, I was like, that line has a 0% chance of working. Why is Sheldon so hell-bent on making this a thing? And hey, what if we just put the center at center and put David Kampf in a spot where he's not completely drowning? And they've started to kill it.
And as Jonas Eagle acknowledged, since that move of Domi to third line center, the Leafs are 10-2-4.
Gosh,
they've been really good.
Sounds like a good problem. Good conundrum.
Yes.
Maybe.
Yes.
And so
that's some strong Scotch tape.
maybe they get okay, so here's where we were at, because we were worried about the defense in October because it looked like shit. What we have seen since the Liljegren, Gio, Klingberg, who else has been hurt? Defense.
McCabe was out for a little bit.
Yeah, he was. So they've got
Timmins was out.
Yeah, Timmins was out. So what we've seen is guys like Simon Benoit and Will Lagesson step up and become really, really good players. For I'm not talking about like they're not winning Norris trophies, but these guys are valuable pieces and depth.
And Timmins is on like a crazy heater points wise, even though he's still an absolute inventor in his own end.
Absolutely. And then on the forward group, you've got Matthews, Nylander, Nyes working, right? You've got Tavares, Nylander working. Tavares Marner, working. I think,
Bertuzzi.
and Marner has really stepped it up in the last 5 games. You can see it.
Scoring a ton.
It's great. Yeah. And then you've got this third line, which is to me entertaining.
So fun.
And can we just talk about that for a second, because entertainment is the fucking point, and sometimes we forget that. I can't remember a Leafs third line this entertaining since, and they were probably terrible defensively too, Lupul Kadri.
Adam, you know how many goals the Leafs have in their last 3 games?
I don't
20.
know.
A lot.
20. That's great. It's amazing. Entertainment and goal scoring. It works together. Yeah, wild. And then they got a fourth line that does not hurt them.
No.
Doesn't hurt them.
Not anymore.
They're scoring goals.
Yep.
Okay, no, you can't have that tone with the fourth line. The fourth line has been very solid the last 10 games.
I know. Well, yeah. Yes, Reeves actually was playing well. Or at least the fourth line
with
was playing well with Reeves.
With McMahon, it's good.
With McMahon, it's straight up good. Yeah.
Like, so people are like, oh, we got to make a trade. Well,
not anymore, man.
I don't think we need to look for problems right now. Martin Jones looked fucking dialed.
Stepped in and got a shutout. It's crazy.
This is great. Just leave it. Leave it for now.
And the team, how good did the team play in front of him?
Outstanding.
The Penguins, I think getting back to the Penguins conversation, they were diabolically easy to read for a Leafs D-core that is just demolished right now. Liljegren gets in there and he's playing on the top pair in his first game in a month, and he's just picking off every slot pass.
He was great.
Simone Benoit was great at applying pressure.
Can I say something, guys, about Liljegren?
You can say a lot.
It was interesting that Keefe said he's ready, but we're getting him back up to conditioning. When have you ever heard the Leafs do that? They're usually like, he's ready, throw him right back in there. It's going to take him a few games. They wanted to make sure his conditioning was ready, so they didn't throw him in and fail him a little bit. And I think because the Leafs have ridden the line of the salary cap, they've had to.
Now, I have a theory there, Adam. When did he say that? Was it before the game or after?
He said it last week, midweek, I think.
Oh, then never mind.
I think it was like Wednesday or Thursday.
I was going to say, if he said it after the game, it's because it was 7-0 and he wants to make himself look smart.
It was Wednesday or Thursday last week.
Oh, well then damn, Sheldon.
Jesse, what's
Good
up?
job.
With the coverage of the Leafs, then we're talking about the Domi situation. Just to get back to that for a little. One thing that bothers me with the way the Leafs are covered on television, in particular, is they search for the critical side and the negative aspect when it's Leafs coverage. And sometimes, like, it's okay to say that the Leafs are good and they're playing well, and you don't have to search.
Not on Hockey Night in Canada.
You don't have to search for the storyline to cover the negative with the Leafs. And I think the fans there's a disservice to the fans with Leafs coverage because they don't usually get the like hometown coverage of like, hey, the Leafs are good and we can just talk about all the good stuff that's happening. And this is the Leafs broadcast and look at all the goals they're scoring. And Austin Matthews is a cool guy. Look at him at Sick Kids. They always have to go and look for the angle that they can criticize the team. And the way they've been playing this year, that coverage has stood out to me more. You know, in the years past, I understood it because for 60 years, the Leafs have been a tire fire. I get it. Yeah. But this year, it's kind of like there's a lot of positivity. And I think it's okay.
Good stories too.
And good stories. And it's okay to just be positive about a team. And we don't always have to find an angle to be critical about it. So I think a lot of the reaction to Jonas Siegel and the article about Max Domi was like, okay, I get it. Like he outlined his argument very well. Like he's a great writer, obviously. So the argument was outlined very well. But I think a lot of the reaction was fans saying, okay, but why now? Why? Because I'm very happy with this team that is doing a lot of good stuff on the ice. They're having these unbelievable comebacks. I love Domi. It's Ty's son. They're on the dad strip. Ty is there. This is awesome.
He's doing chants with Austin Matthews' dad.
Why does the Leafs coverage have to find that critical angle? So I think to speak to the reaction, I think that's where a lot of it came from. Because for me personally, as a fan, that's what I sat there and kind of say when I'm watching these pregame and postgame game shows.
I mean, as I have a little bit of insight there, and again, I loved everyone I worked with at Sportsnet, but like there's a lot of emphasis, and no non-Leaf fan is going to want to hear this, and every non-Leaf fan is going to roll their eyes. They are very concerned with giving Toronto too much coverage and seeming like they're too pro-Leaf. What happens, and I know a lot of Leaf fans just went, I know everyone, non-Leaf fan and Leaf fan alike, just went, what?
It's true.
What? Because Leaf fans think it's way too negative, and non-Leaf fans think it's still being shoved down your throat. Here's what I think it is from my 9 years of experience there. Non-Leaf fans, I think you could show Austin Matthews at sick kids, literally helping sick children, and you're like, get him the fuck off my screen.
Yeah.
Because it's too much. Leaf fans, I'm not sure what you want. I guess just...
Are you not? I know what they want.
Well, they
want a local broadcast group.
Yeah, but you're not going to get that on Hockey Night in Canada because it's the fucking national
but the problem is that too many Leaf games are national. That's the problem. And when they are regional on TSN, the TSN crew will go in and compliment the Leafs. I've yet to see that on sports.
O-Dog will wear a jersey.
Yeah,
Awesome.
you're not. It's not just Hockey Night in Canada. Like, you don't get that on a Thursday or a Friday or a Tuesday because all of those games they're not just aiming for the Leafs audience. Because if it's Leaf Senators, it is a broadcast for both of those regions. So their general Leaf broadcast, if it's just a local broadcast, is that same broadcast. They don't create a new one for Leafs fans.
Right. So what I think is happening is they're trying to please everyone, and in the process, no one's happy.
Yes.
Yeah.
So
I can understand.
You got to pick a lane and commit to it.
I could totally understand that feeling too, because the reality is there's just so many freaking Leaf fans, and there's so many people in Southern Ontario that have potential to be Leaf fans, and 15 million people live in this province, and it's huge, right? Country of 40 million and 15 million are here. It's a lot.
Yeah.
I completely understand that. That doesn't mean that you can't point out legitimately good things. And I think that's a failure of direction coming from the top. I don't blame the producers on the ground, and I frankly don't blame the on-air people. I think that there is a way that they're trying to frame this, and these guys are trying to maneuver it. It's very difficult. It's a tricky gig. So with that said,
listen, here, just one sec. Get me a loan for a beer. I'll tell you all the things I don't like about Sportsnet. But
I think they've got great people.
Dude,
I think
people, no, I know no one wants to hear it because I don't know if I don't think Sportsnet has a very popular brand. Mm-hmm. But I have nothing but positive things to say about all the people I worked with, including your least favorite on-air people,
and behind the
your least, they're all
and behind the scenes too. Right?
Behind the scenes,
Great.
Oh my God, the stuff they do behind the scenes.
So I think it's a failure of direction or a failure of clarity of direction, and that can happen, right? And I think all that to say is that I think Toronto Maple Leafs fans are seeing this team play the way Leafs fans want a team to play. I think that's part of it too. We kind of got away from that. One of the things that happened in and I can remember this far back because we were doing the podcast this far back, the Leafs used to draft toughness in the first round. And it was so stupid because you'd end up with guys like, and no offense to these players, Tyler Biggs, Freddie Gauthier at 23rd overall. And then people were like, well, he projects to be a good, tough third line center. No.
Dude,
and
you
hold
draft
on.
Freddie Goat in the third round, I think he would have had a much better career.
100%.
Yeah.
And so my point in saying all this is that the Toronto Maple Leafs used to draft so poorly that they had to overcorrect. And what they would do is they'd say, well, we're going to draft all skill. You can always trade for toughness. And they were right. They just never did.
Yeah, but the price on toughness went up because no one had it.
Well, but also I would say that the people are like, oh, what about Wayne Simmons? Wayne Simmons, who got into a few games, especially towards the end.
It was $900,000 and coming off of a busted
Kyle Clifford, who was not an NHL player anymore.
Not really.
Matt Martin, who wasn't really effective and didn't work within the system.
They couldn't afford him.
$2.5 million. I think is what he's making.
Yeah, they couldn't afford him.
And so there was all that stuff. This entire roster is tougher now. Mm-hmm. There's not one single guy like Michael Bunting last year that you could isolate. Every line is going to have somebody, and Toronto likes that. Leaf fans want a little bit of bite. We hate when players I can tell you the thing that's rankled me as a Leaf fan the most in the last decade has not been the Game 7 losses. It's been the...
I don't know.
You guys,
I didn't like them.
You guys are soft. And how do you disagree with that?
I think they thought... I think the strategy was, you know what? We're going to call up guys, and they're going to score 20 to 30 goals. And do you know how friggin' rare that is? How incredibly rare it is?
Like, stack the system so much with talent.
Yeah, to find some guy where you're like, oh, and like you didn't even know how good they were. Mm-hmm. And I'm not even talking about like a Connor Zary, like in Calgary. Like I think he's a first round pick. Like I'm talking about some guy gets called up from the minors, like the equivalent of Bobby McMahon tucking 20 this year. That so rarely happens. You know what's a lot more common is a guy comes up from the minors and beats the shit out of everyone in his path because he wants to stay in the show. Mm-hmm. And they're getting those performances out of Lagesson, Benoit, McMahon has provided that as well.
Mm-hmm. And you're seeing toughness from players. I don't want to say Matt Nyes wasn't tough. He's always been tough and big. But like, do you think Matt Nyes was standing up for Domi if Domi hadn't done the same for him and multiple other teammates?
What? Adam, fuck. Unreal point. Absolutely. That Vancouver game, like you talk about the two most worth it instigator penalties in NHL history.
Yes.
Like,
yeah.
Absolutely. And like, damn it. You know, I wish I could go back and just shake my head at some of the like early podcast stuff we talked about, which was like too far in the other direction. But like, you can't tell me that stuff doesn't bring a team closer together. Yeah, I didn't even realize till now that, or no, it was Domi. It was Domi defending Robertson who got hit. Mm-hmm. But whatever, 6.5 dozen. Domi stuck up for his teammate. Robertson got a goal that night, and he was extremely fired up, even more so than he would have usually been. And Nyes went after a guy who took out his line mate's tooth, who he knows is probably fighting on his own behalf less than he usually would because of his finger.
Probably, which he injured probably in a fight.
Probably.
Right?
Like,
you got to think.
Nyes is an animal. First Gordie Howe hat trick. Did you see the stat?
In 40 years?
No. Not quite. Since 2015.
What was the 40-year one? Oh, that was the 7-0, I think, or something. Or somebody, yeah. Doesn't matter.
Who was the last Leaf to have a Gordie Howe hat trick before Matt?
Matt Fratton.
No.
Damn it.
But a line mate or a teammate of Matt Fratton.
I saw the stat.
Daniel Winnick.
Oh, hey. All right.
Ask me the game.
Yeah.
Do not remember.
Wow, that's okay. The Winnick years were dark years. All that is to say, the Toronto Maple Leafs are good. We can enjoy it. I understand why people are going in on Jonas. We know Jonas. He's a good guy. Totally fucking disagree with his point on Max Domi, but I've been on that train. But that's okay. I think it's sort of one of those, like, we don't need to look for these faults coming out of nowhere. I think it's like, this is a good team on a good run. Let's enjoy it.
I think you can have a point that loses its bite if you bring it up at the wrong time.
Jesse.
Yep, definitely agree. What's up?
Do you think Max Domi will be the Leafs' third line center come playoffs?
Oh, that's a great question. I'm going to say, just by the nature of how things are going, no.
No.
I think there's...
Second line. Matthews has to earn his spot back.
I think just based on how much of the rumblings are with Brad Treliving and how much he wants to tinker, I think he tinkers a little and he gets the freedom to do it. Somebody like, mentioned in the article actually, Elias Lindholm, who is a UFA,
that's crazy,
would make a great third line center on the Toronto Maple Leafs.
That would be bonkers, by the way.
My
if Lindholm was playing here, that'd be bonkers.
That'd be kind of fun. And I think if they want to swing, there are opportunities to swing. I don't know what goes out, but I don't get a gauge on what the mentality of the Leafs front office is right now, because there's been rumors on both sides where they don't want to give up future assets because they've done that so many times in the Dubas era where they gave away all the draft picks and prospect capital. So they don't want to do that. They definitely want to hang on to the World Juniors guys, but they also want to win this year. Yep. This isn't a year where they can't not win. So I don't really have a gauge on it. I'm just going to guess no.
Here's the only thing I'll say with Max Domi. If they... Heading into the playoffs, heading into the trade deadline, because he started the season so poorly on a line that made no sense, I want to see Domi on the wing just to see if he can do it.
Mm-hmm.
The problem is, who do you play him with? Because if you can, I mean, holy shit, if you can add Elias Lindholm to the team, like, I want evidence that, like, imagine Domi on the left, maybe on the left, it doesn't matter. Domi on the wing, Lindholm, and either Yarncroke
Or Robertson.
or Robertson. Yarncroke,
It's a fun team.
might have played with Lindholm when they were in Calgary.
You do some kind of deal where you get Lindholm and Tanev, even though I don't think you should get Tanev at all. But there's a package there.
I'm okay with them getting Tanev. I worry about the...
It better not come with an extension. That's your ask.
so?
Your ask.
I think if it does, they're going to sign an extension.
it should. Neither of those guys should come with an extension. I don't believe so.
Lindholm I'd take.
Well,
No,
All day.
No,
But what does he want? 8 million? 9 million?
it's too much.
That's a lot for
Yeah,
Leafs.
like I think they got to be pure rentals, and if that's the case, you want to go after both those two guys, Brad. But there's some interesting things. Also, I'd be fine with Max Domi. Either the question is, do you think yes or no? But like, I'd be fine with either answer. Max Domi has been very good, and I think he'll keep it up.
I think Max Domi, by the way, is the centerman come playoff time. I think he's earned it so far. This keeps up, and he keeps playing like this. How do you deny the guy? Now, do the Leafs go out and not get center depth? No. I think sure they do. Why wouldn't you? Somebody's going to get injured.
Well,
and it may not even be Max Domi. It might
got
be
a guy-
Tavares or Matthews. You're going to need somebody who can step up.
get a guy who can play both.
There you go. Get a man who could do both.
Yeah,
And-
that Tavares to the wing shit disappeared, eh?
It's been amazing.
That's gone.
Steve, your point about seeing Max Domi on the wing, like that could work. If they go get a center, Max Domi could play on the wing and he'd be very effective.
I know he can do it, and I know it'll work. We just haven't seen it here because he was on a terrible line. That made no sense.
Yeah, you can also go get him a winger.
That'd be great.
That works too.
Or-
opens up your options.
Hey, what about Nick Robertson?
There you go.
We'll see. It's nice
hey.
and early.
Hey, that's great. I saw some people who were talking about like wanting to trade Nick Robertson or whatever, and I'm like, guys, he's gonna break out. It's happening.
People, Adam. Who are these
Online.
people
I'm
you
looking. I'm
follow?
watching the conversations that people have.
Yeah.
Okay. What are people talking
That
about?
Have better
backhand
conversations.
sauce to Marner was friggin' nasty.
There's some tantalizing shit with his game, and I'm telling you, I feel like there's a breakout coming. That's just me.
I just listen. Like, there's a lot about his game that's raw, but his work ethic and I think willingness to learn. That's not a player I give up on, man. Nope.
Okay.
Nope. You trade him to another team, he's scoring 30. You know that, right? Like,
I feel like that.
nope.
Right? I feel
Nope.
like that.
Let him figure it out here. You can have Nick Robertson from my cold, dead hands. No way. No way.
So let's get to the BetMGM big story. All right, we got news today that the Bruins have assigned Matt Patra, who's had a crazy start with the Bruins,
Really good player.
to Team Canada for the World Juniors. Now, that seems slightly unfair.
No, this is great. This is because I get to have my cake and eat it too, because the Bruins lose a good player for like a month, and Team Canada gets a really good player for like several weeks.
Yes.
I don't like the Bruins, and I like Canada. Go Canada. Thanks, Boston. Appreciate it. That's great.
So my question to you guys is, if you have to pick somebody that isn't Canada to win, because they will be the favorites, and as Leaf fans, whenever the Leafs are the favorites, that's when they screw it up. So we're used to this, okay? And the Canadian team always wears a maple leaf on its chest. If you're gonna pick somebody else, if you're gonna bet on somebody else, you put your $2 Steve on somebody else to steal this, what should be a guaranteed win for Canada. Who's it gonna be?
Well, see, Adam, you say it's a guaranteed win for Canada because you have that Canadian heart.
Yes.
But you know what you got to do? Follow more nerds.
Really?
And nerds are in on Team USA.
Really?
Team USA, every year at this thing, they're on a heater. They're on a heater, man. Every year they have probably the craziest firepower in the tournament. Canada tries to win their gold with a bit of a more well-rounded game, but like the States are going to shoot the lights out. They're they're going to be bananas.
They're creating superstars with that program.
Oh, yeah. They're doing well.
Jesse, what do you think?
If I'm going to put money on any team that's not Team Canada, I'm putting my money on Team USA. And the reason I like Team USA is one thing that I think is super underrated in World Juniors, and that's continuity. One thing, they're bringing back 7 players from last year. And if you remember last year, they went undefeated until they faced Canada in the semifinals. So they're bringing back 7 players from that squad. And super important, continuity, even more than 7, 8. They're bringing 8 guys from Boston College. The Boston College Eagles are going to have 8 players represented on the Team USA World Junior squad. And tell me that's not important. Like they got a part of a team all going together, and they might have the best one of the best prospects in the tournament for sure in Lane Hudson, who is going to have I think he's going to dominate parts of the tournament.
I haven't heard of
My
him.
money's going to Team USA.
I wish Canadians fans would talk about Lane Hudson.
I know. Guys, show some pride in your players.
I love that there's a Bruin player going to Team Canada, and then there's 8 people from Massachusetts going to Team USA. That is bonkers.
Oh, sorry, 7 Eagles. Shout out the Boston College Eagles. 7 of your players going to be on Team USA.
Go Eagles. Caw-caw! Anyway, you can get your bets in right now at betmgm.com/Dangle.
That's not an eagle.
Is it, what would that be? Oh, okay.
Yeah.
betmgm.com/Dangle. Check it out. It's starting to get down to the wire on our STPN football pool.
I have not lost this week.
I probably will.
Steve didn't make the playoffs. So. That's how he didn't lose.
I'm probably going to lose.
But there's 3 weeks left in the actual NFL season.
That's right.
And that means playoffs. And when the playoffs roll around, do you know who you should be listening to?
Drew and Stu, baby.
Drew and Stu.
Why, Jesse?
Because every week they come to you with the best picks that you should be placing when you're making your football bets.
And they're actually really, really good at it.
Yeah.
It's better when they're not, but
So
it's way better when they're not.
Drew had 1 week. I think it was 3 weeks ago. He was like really busy that week, and he didn't have a lot of time to do a bunch of research. And he went, I want to say, like 2-14.
Oh
My God. Yeah, it was just and Cam obviously comes the next episode and just rips him apart. For him.
That must have been Sweden. That was
probably I think the week leading up to Sweden. Yeah.
So when Drew is not in Europe, he's dialed.
He's dialed in.
Absolutely
They're
dialed.
generally very good.
Yeah, I also want to say that sometimes,
Great advertisement,
like
Jesse.
sometimes like pick content can be super serious and a little greasy, and like these guys are just 2 guys. It feels like you're hanging out at the bar with them. They're just fun, and especially for people that can't stand Drew's takes. Tune in to watch them lose. There you go, right?
And also, when you're there and you discover what a great show it is, you should subscribe.
Thank
to
you.
SDPN.
It's Drew and Stu on SDPN.
Search Drew and Stu on your favorite podcast app, whether that's Apple or Spotify, or search it up on YouTube.
Search it on your least favorite as well.
Ottawa has lost 4 straight and dropped 8 of their last 11. The difference between Mike Sullivan and D.J. Smith is Mike Sullivan is locked in forever and D.J. Smith is on an expiring deal.
Remember that time the Sens had all these games in hand on everybody? Oh, they're spending that fast.
D.J. Smith said after the 5-4 loss to the Stars on Friday that he felt the team deserved better, and he said, wish they could have finished the job because they played well.
No one wants to hear that.
You remember earlier this year when the Senators fans got on D.J. Smith and said, fire DJ, and Brady Tkachuk stood up for him. I know Michael Andlauer said he does not want more instability this year because it's been an unstable year. Honestly, it's been an unstable decade for Senators fans, and I feel for them.
But this year in particular.
This year's been bad.
It's been
like, this
wild.
isn't even Eugene's fault anymore.
Yeah.
But this year is almost at an end. Does DJ Smith coach a game for the Senators in 2024?
I'm going to say yes. And I'll tell you why.
Okay.
I don't have a name in mind, but I think Michael Andlauer does. Because I think Steve Staios does. Now, some people chronically online will know that I think it was in June. It was in the summer. I said that the Sens are going to get Steve Staios.
Yes.
It took a while, but I was right.
You also said the Kraken are going to get Brendan Manel.
I don't think I said that.
Not Kraken. Who? Blackhawks? Who's going to get Brendan
Leafs.
Manel? Leafs?
Wait,
that was
what?
it?
What?
Sorry, never
Adam,
mind.
shut up.
Fine.
Flyers.
Fair.
Flyers. He went to the Flyers.
Adam, where were the Sens in the playoffs in August?
Oh man, they won the cup several times. I mean, like one. I can't. August is their month, man. Listen, as long as there's no hockey, Senators fans have a chance, and I'm happy for them. I can't wait till next August. August 2024, they're gonna be like, see all the problems from last year? None of those exist anymore. Now we're gonna win. It's been, and I feel for them because every year you think they're gonna take a step forward.
Yeah.
But here they are, worse than the Montreal Canadiens.
Leafs fans' cup season is right around Christmas.
That's right.
Yeah.
Right around now. This is when we're gonna win the cup.
Listen, I didn't say we're.
And then it only gets worse from here.
But at least we watch some hockey first and then make that decision.
In the summer, I said Steve Staios was going to join the Ottawa Senators. He still worked for the Oilers at the time, and they even said, hey, he still works for us. And then what happened? The obvious. He ends up in Ottawa. There was a little bit of X, Y, and Z involved, but that's where he ended up. So the Andlauer group had a guy in mind for a long time. I'm thinking they have, listen, they should have fired D.J. Smith weeks ago, and they haven't yet. I don't think it's just about the instability. I think they have a guy in mind, and he's not available. I don't know who the person is, but I'm willing to bet Michael Andlauer is going to do something the Sens haven't done for a long time, and he's going to break out the wallet, and he's going to go, what do you want? And he's going to give someone a lot of money to coach the
Mike Babcock. That's great.
Oh, my God. You know, I don't think we're going to see him again.
This is the NHL. I think the name that has come up several times, and this player or this coach is not allowed to coach yet, is Joe Quenneville. And like it or not, and I imagine most people don't, Joel Quenneville, as soon as he gets approval, is going to get a big fat contract from somewhere. And if he ever gets approval, I don't know if he ever will, to be honest.
I don't know either.
But Joel Quenneville is a lot of teams. I think his name was floated in St. Louis discussions. So that's why the St. Louis one's so interesting, because Drew Bannister may not even be the coach at the end of the year. And I think that's because they're trying to keep the window open. I think there's a few guys that are in that sort of area. And I would say that I wouldn't be shocked if that's one of the names who's at the top of their list. Waiting on him.
Here's a name. I'll throw it out. Steve Staios brought a championship to Michael Andlauer and the Hamilton Bulldogs. Who was their coach? Former NHLer. Former Buffalo Sabre. Black and white and red Buffalo Sabre. Important distinction. Jay McKee.
Interesting. Why would he be a big wallet? He wouldn't be a big spender.
No, he wouldn't be a big wallet, but he's a name that I would definitely throw out there as a potential candidate.
I like that.
And, I mean, you know what's going to add instability to your team?
Losing,
but also hiring Joel Quenneville. A lot of people are going to friggin' hate that, dude.
Yeah, that's a good way to lose a PR battle before it even starts.
Yeah, what are you doing?
I'm wondering if the pro sports mantra of "who cares, just win" takes over. Because here it is.
How do I say
Here it is. The Ottawa Senators are right now in points percentage 28th in the league. We can all agree that the teams around them are less talented than the Ottawa Senators, right? The Ottawa Senators are the most talented team, probably below the Oilers in the NHL. In terms of standings, points percentage. If you go look points percentage, it's Calgary, Buffalo, Seattle, Ottawa, Columbus, Anaheim, San Jose, Chicago. On paper,
I don't really understand why they're this bad.
they play like a mess.
Yeah,
They're a sloppy mess.
they need a coach and some goaltending.
But they don't have, it's not that they don't have talent, though.
No, they have lots of talent. It's weird. They're like this year's Canucks, where I look at them and I'm like,
Should be good, right?
They could make the playoffs. They could miss the playoffs. Basement? No, I'm surprised they're in the basement. I am.
Their points percentage is worse than the Montreal Canadiens, by the way.
That's
Way worse.
Wow.
0.77 worse than the Montreal Canadiens.
Who are rebuilding and injured to bloody hell.
Yeah.
Not that the Sens have had the greatest injury luck either, but holy shit.
Yeah.
Yeah, they really
Again, I
are
say,
one card from the whole
They've
deck
lost
column.
8 of 11 games. They are 3-7-0 in their last 10.
God, that's bad. That's so bad. And like Korpisalo, Forsberg, that's not the greatest tandem in the league. That should be fine.
Should be fine.
Should be league average-ish. Nope. Yeah, man. When their guy becomes available, I think they go for it. Also,
Is there another name?
well, if they're this bad, this deep into the season, I don't know. Just let it happen.
Are you sure that's good for young players?
No, but you could add Macklin Celebrini to the team, and away you go.
Go look at the post games the last night. They just look dejected. Dejected's not good.
Yeah, but guess what's coming up? It's beginning to look a lot like Christmas, and you get a few days off everywhere. and you start to feel good. And I don't know. Maybe that'll be a nice mental reset for them.
I think the Sens are more bad than just like goaltending. I think they have bigger issues than just their two goalies. But if you look at the stats, Jonas Korpisalo is an .892, and Anton Forsberg in 11 games is an .876.
Dude, 876, but he's only one game below 500 is actually crazy.
You can't win games when your goaltenders are giving you an .876 and an .892. Like, there are some defensive issues they have to solve. They're actually scoring goals at like a decent pace, and they have the players to get it all together.
We
but
knew they would.
The first thing they need to solve is this goaltending issue. And I don't know, maybe it's a structural issue with the way they're playing. I don't know about the defensive systems that D.J Smith is running there and if that'll help the goaltenders in any sort of situation. But the goaltending needs to be fixed first before they can talk about winning anything substantial.
Well, they just spent a big old bunch of money on it, so
Yeah.
Well,
the other
I think
thing.
their first way to be successful is stop letting Pierre Dorian make choices on who's going to tend the net. And
D.J. Smith?
No, I said Pierre Dorian, and they did the right thing, and they got rid of Pierre Dorian.
Oh.
No, I meant Pierre Dorian.
Okay.
He's
I'm
been the
like,
one who's been
what?
signing the bad contracts. I mean, really,
Well,
every time.
the writing was on the wall for him, eh?
100%.
Like he was a guy where it was like, he's not allowed to like do his job, and then they let him do his job, and I'm like, no, stop. No, stop. You're not very good at this.
Another guy I want to talk about, obviously the Jets are surging, but Gabe Vilardi has come out of injury on an absolute monster tear. 9 points in 11 games for this weekend.
Did I not call that when the trade happened? That's a
Did
good
you?
trade, man. I didn't think PLD would be bad, which he has been. That's been surprising. But I thought the Jets had a great return.
I Vietnamesely disagree with that.
What do you mean?
I think PLD has been perfectly fine.
Well, I don't
His
think
points haven't been.
it's a story in Winnipeg, and it's not a story in LA because the Kings are great anyway.
Yeah.
Like I think it's an example of a trade working for both teams because the Kings are obviously fine, and the Jets though are killing it. And I don't know what I thought the team would be, but like, what a huge change in culture that you lose PLD, you lose Wheeler, and then these four guys come in from the Kings organization. I think three of them are on the roster right now, three or four. And also, they have like one of the best goalies in the world. Weirdly, it's added up to success.
Strange how that happens. It's also good that, Gabe Vilardi really was buried on he was great as a part of the Kings, but I think he was buried as a part of how deep they were. And he wanted an opportunity. He wanted to go to Winnipeg, and he's there, and he's doing incredibly well. Like, just such a valuable piece for them.
Really good match.
Did anybody call Winnipeg being this good this year?
No, not me.
And it's great.
Not me. I'm not surprised, though, that the guys they got in that deal worked out. They're good players, man.
They are.
I like all
I think the
those
Leafs
players.
went after Vilardi for years. Like, they tried to get him for years.
Vilardi, Iafallo was a guy who I really wanted the Leafs to get when the Kings were sellers. Dude, they're a good team.
The last one, Marc Andre-Fluery could be playing his last game in Pittsburgh tonight. Here's what he said about it. He said, I don't want every city to be like, oh, this could be your last game here, Fleury said. But that being said, I know it could be. So at the same time, I would have a regret not doing those moments as in enjoying these moments. So I'm going to enjoy little things like that. But I don't know. I don't want to be thinking every day about these emotions because it kind of makes. He said it kind of says something about it being soft. Now, what I found hilarious about this.
Okay.
Is that it was announced today that Coach John Hines from the Minnesota Wild, Philip Gustafson will be playing Marc Andre-Fluery will not be playing in Pittsburgh. Josh Yohe in his column said, you might want to get to PPG Paints Arena this week because
That's so shit.
That's awful.
that is absolutely moronic. Now, if
He's been really good.
joking, that could be hilarious. But if he goes through and he doesn't play Marc Andre-Fluery in Pittsburgh, then John Hines, I can't even.
Now-
you got to play.
The Wild need to right the ship, and Gustafson's been playing stupid since Hines got there.
You put Marc Andre-Fluery in.
I know it's a tough one. Can I just? I looked it up. Fleury was drafted the same year Into Club by 50 Cent came out.
Wow.
Also, Get Busy by Sean Paul and Crazy in Love featuring Beyonce and Jay-Z.
Damn.
There's another song at number 2, but I don't know if I'm allowed to say it.
Probably not. I gotta say, man, the thing about Marc Andre-Fluery is he's gonna leave a great legacy within the league. But the legacy in Pittsburgh is something really special. He's got a really unbelievable relationship with those fans.
Yeah, he won 3 cups.
Yeah, but more than that.
Only one.
I know.
Come on, guys. I'm
Only
trying to
one
set you
as
up for a topic here. And you're
the starting goaltender, right?
Oh, how dare you, Jesse? Yes, you're right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I don't know.
he was the
What
first
legacy?
beacon of hope.
Shut up.
In a terrible era for the Penguins where they almost lost the team. It was sold and it was unsold. And he was the first overall pick.
Dude.
And then it was Malkin at 2. And then I think it was Crosby at 1.
Yeah, if you want a retrospective on Marc Andre-Fleury's career, the best person you can listen to is Marc Andre-Fleury, who was a guest on Agent Provocateur
right.
with Alan Walsh and Adam Wilde. I encourage you to go look up that episode. There's a great story on that one about Mario Lemieux having Marc Andre-Fleury stay at his house and try and sneak this contract by Alan by keeping Fleury hostage at his home. It is a fantastic episode.
And Fleury having what is going to be a Hall of Fame career at the end of it is actually wild to me as someone who remembers the beginning of his career as basically a how-to guide of how to ruin a prospect. The just letting him get shelled every night. They made him a healthy scratch a bunch of times because he got a signing bonus if he played, or a performance bonus if he played a certain amount of games. And all these Penguins fans were like, you have to play him, man. The other guys we have are unusable. I can't even remember who it was. And he came out of all that, won a cup, arguably won a couple others, according to Jesse.
He did win a couple others. What do you mean?
He won a couple others. Gosh darn it.
I didn't say he didn't win them.
He's one of the, I think that's what he did. And he's one of the all-time leaders in wins and shutouts and everything. Alan's gonna kick your ass.
One of the guys who won games.
I hope John Hines changes his mind, or he's just faking out the media and making a shitstorm. You cannot start.
He's
Philip
really going to
Gustafson.
start?
That's what he's saying. He's saying Philip Gustafson.
Who was first off at practice?
It's a back-to-back for the Wild, apparently.
Do we know for sure Fleury's even retiring?
We don't.
Maybe it's not a big deal because he's just not going to retire.
No, it says here Marc Andre-Fleury's starting tonight.
Yes, but John Hines said this morning at a press conference that Philip Gustafson will be playing. And they're playing the Bruins tomorrow, and Marc Andre-Fluery is playing in that game.
Nah.
What?
Wait. From a strategic standpoint, I hate that.
I'd hate it too.
Gus should be playing the Bruins. No,
No.
you know what? I'm on Adam's side.
No, I'm telling you, this is what he said.
Wow. What? Why?
How is it sinking in 5 minutes later? I just
Why?
told you guys.
We don't believe
we
you.
know, we heard you.
Liar!
It's just why?
Why?
Wow.
Wow. That sucks.
It
know
does
what?
suck.
That sucks.
I know what John Hines said, but let's see what Yahoo Sports has to say. I'm gonna look at my. I dropped Gus earlier this season.
It
That was terrible.
It just doesn't make sense because both guys got to start both games.
Philip Gustafson is a confirmed starter.
Yeah.
Oh dear.
Nah.
I think that Penguins fans need to do the right thing and boo John Hines.
You know what? Now it's real.
You got to boo John Hines. Now Yahoo says it's real.
Yeah.
Now it's real.
All right.
Wow.
Are we doing a press conference or are we wrapping
Yeah,
here?
let's do it.
All right, let's do it.
The Presser. SDP. The Steve Dangle
press conference.
Yeah, we got confirmed by Nick Horvat on the Hockey News. That's where it confirms Wild will not start Marc Andre-Fluery. Wow. Why are you staring into the camera?
That's what it's for.
Okay. I don't know what bit you were running.
Just staring at it.
You were just trying to stare down John Hines?
Yeah.
It's real good for the audio listeners.
Yeah, I think so.
Like, I think they do a great job laughing at that joke that's
100%.
only for the camera.
Well,
Yeah.
you know how you defeat John Hines? You destroy all his Horcruxes. Way ho!
Hey, all right, let's go.
This is from ZTTZ on Discord. Hi from Finland. Adam thought Martin Jones was Finnish. I wonder if the mix-up could be with ex-NHL goalie Christopher Gibson, who was in the Leaf system at some point. Very English name, but born and raised in population 10,000 people town called Karkkila in Finland.
It wasn't,
Okay.
but I would have made the same mistake. I mean, yeah. I had no idea where Chris is, especially Karkkila, we think. I understand.
Karkkila.
I
you know
love
what?
the delivery, Adam.
Listen, I knew Chris Gibson as a player. I did not look up where he was from.
I don't think you messed up Chris Gibson and Martin Jones.
No, I just assumed Martin Jones was Finnish for some reason, and not finished. Finnish. For anybody that missed the episode. Anyway, keep going.
This is from Stinkface McPoop Lightning.
Let's go.
That's a great.
What is the number of owls in any given day you would have to see before you started thinking it was weird?
That is
Good
a
question.
Great question. Honestly, one.
No.
Like, okay. My real answer is two. But if I saw one, I'd be like, holy shit, that's an owl.
But you wouldn't be like, oh, Adam planted these owls. You know?
Do people do that?
No, but like in this scenario, something weird is
Like
happening.
messing with you.
Like Adam's messing with you. But how many would you have to see before you're like, wait a second, somebody's fucking with me?
Okay, three. Because one, like, I'm trying to think of the amount of times I've seen an owl in my entire life, like in the wild. Then two, I'd be like, well, holy shit. A third one, I'd be like, there are wizards about. That's the conclusion I would come to.
I can't even say I've seen an owl in the wild.
They are so big.
They're big.
I've
They're
never seen an
so
owl.
big.
They are big. I've seen them at the zoo.
Me too.
And I've seen them like, I think we had like a guy with an owl come to our school once or something.
I believe
You know that?
What?
Like, they used to have they'd have like a it's like grade
Don't
3.
do drugs. Here's an owl.
Yeah, basically, yeah.
Hey, guys,
Yeah.
here's Jeremiah, the no drugs owl. And then we're going to do a breakdance.
Yeah, so I've seen them in like captivity. I've never seen an owl in a while. So I'm thinking like three or four. I'd be like, what's going on today? Can I just all of a sudden see every owl everywhere? Like a
Yeah.
special ability.
You know what I mean? Yeah, no, that's
It's a good question. I like it.
the thing about owls is they see you.
Yeah, they got great eyesight. Are owls not nocturnal?
Yeah,
They are.
they're nocturnal.
So it's got to be like seeing one is special.
Oh, yeah. No, I saw one in the
Yeah.
day once, I think on my way to the zoo, and I went, bah! Because they're fucking huge, and I wasn't expecting to see it.
Now just if I ever see an owl, I'm gonna be like, is somebody fucking with me?
Oh, yeah.
There's one on TikTok, an owl that's I think it's a rescue owl, being raised by somebody, and they like to spray it with a mist water, and then the owl spreads out its wings and loves it. It just walks around like this. So I will go through that account and just watch the owl getting sprayed by water, and it loves it. Loves an owl bath.
There's so many
Weird ass TikTok.
weirdly pleasing TikToks.
And that was one of them. It's great.
the dude who grooms the lobsters.
Yes.
Or groom? I don't know.
Yeah, and he
takes
pulls the particles off
them.
Yeah.
The claw spa. There's a dude in Yorkshire who just looks for fossils. I'm never going to not watch him get the exact same fossil every time.
Yeah.
I love it. now maybe I need to fall in love with an owl keeper.
Jesse?
One thing that happened last episode that I thought was really wrong that you guys did to the people of beautiful Long Island is you said in Long Island, which is...
It's in Long Island.
It
Long Island.
is so far incorrect.
In Long Island!
It is on Long Island, and we got Mr. Mike on our Discord to reply.
What'd he say?
Mr. Mike said, love you guys.
Too long, didn't read.
Love you guys, but why do you guys gotta disrespect us Long Islanders? There's a reason why we say we live on Long Island. Long Island is an island, not an incorporated community, like a city, town, or state. If you live on an island, you live on an island, not in an island.
Technically, we all live on an island.
Now, if the whole of Long Island was its own state one day, then it would make sense. Like Manhattan in NYC. People say they live in Manhattan because it's its own borough in NYC, although it is an island. So if you want to sound smarter to us and invite more of us to your show from Long Island, it's on Long Island, not in. Mike.
See, I think it's going to be in.
I was going to say we don't need you as a clever little jab, but I actually am not going to be enough of a pants-shitting baby to say that.
No, Steven.
What? So, yeah.
They've been good to us.
I know, so I'll say on Long Island.
Yeah.
Go on.
So you said something wrong. Somebody politely corrected you, and I think you should say thank you.
Now, can you
change what you're saying?
I think it's important to point out.
Is that difficult?
I think it's important to point out that I know I was wrong and was doing it to be a dick.
Can you say in Rhode Island? Because Rhode Island is the state. Where, Providence is the capital city and Rhode Island is the state.
I don't know.
Where do Australia
Jesse,
live?
why didn't you
I don't know enough about anything.
The guy. Come on, guys. So you could live in Rhode Island, which isn't technically an island.
I don't think that is material to this conversation.
I'm
matters.
excited. I'm excited to get on a plane and go visit my wife's relatives on Britain. Like, you're not the only island, right? Like, you're not the only one.
Stop it.
My grandma grew up on Guernsey. Yeah,
Is Guernsey an island?
Yes.
sure is.
Okay.
And she grew up on it.
Is it a
Only
city?
Nazi-occupied
It's,
British territories.
That is correct.
World War
yeah.
II.
Okay.
It's part of England, I think. Part of Britain.
All right.
Now you know, man.
I think
Now
I
you know.
don't think we were talking about any of those other places. I
Okay.
think we were talking about one specific place, and Mike very politely corrected
Thank you,
They're being
Mike.
difficult.
what you were saying.
They're being difficult.
It's definitely not you guys being difficult.
I'll just
could be.
I'll call you the I'll say the thing that makes you feel neat. On Long Island.
Adam,
I will also say on Long Island.
there we go.
And I think I do appreciate you reaching out and not saying, fuck you, I'm going to burn down your house, Leaf fans, which is normally how people from other fan bases reach.
Or have another cheeseburger, you fat fuck.
what?
Steve, that was one Instagram comment. It's okay.
No, it's so many of them.
Oh, wow.
Who's telling you to eat cheeseburger?
Oh, man.
People are telling me to eat cheeseburgers, and I'm
See-
like, they're delicious.
Jesse, see, here's what you do correctly that Steve did not this weekend. You don't read the Instagram comments,
No.
right? You don't read them.
that's,
Don't read them. Nothing good.
Not going to go
from
well
that.
for Steve.
Listen, it's all fair and good with people with 8 followers and lockdown accounts to call other people's bodies out.
No, I'm fat and sad. Thanks.
What if you're
anyway.
fat and sad on Long Island?
Damn. Well, now I'm... now I got to be like one of the normies, and I'm just fat and sad in Ajax. Because it's not
not.
a neat island.
Do we say on North America?
I mean, you should, because it's really, I mean, if you look at the continents, they are kind of just a big island.
Is the
That's
Earth...
what Steve led this conversation
Yeah.
with, and it was a very good point.
I live on.
I had a gummy strategically half an hour ago. Is Earth just an island?
It is. Surrounded by space, man.
It's a rock
Yeah.
floating through space,
Yeah.
Planets
Waiting
are just
to-
space islands.
Why don't we wrap it up?
waiting
That's
to
what you're finding
hurl
out,
itself into the sun.
Why don't we just call it? Let's call it. Hey. I think you look beautiful. I think you're beautiful. You're a beautiful man.
I know I'm beautiful.
Jesse, tell him he's beautiful.
You are extremely hot.
Ooh.
And a floorball champion.
Yeah, that too. Not wrong.
The Steve Dangle Podcast. Follow the guys on Twitter at Steve_Dangle, at Adam WYLDE, and at Jesse Blake. Connection.